Peace, people. Yeah, so I wasn't even going to discuss this. This I already talked about it already. The Ben Bada shit is played out. But I keep seeing on the internet with some of you niggas, the Charleston Whites, the Mongoloids, but I ain't even gonna speak of him anymore because he's beneath me. But I keep seeing some of you niggas say things like Hassan Campbell's a fruit cup. This Hassan Campbell must with it. Hassan Campbell is very straight. But I keep seeing some of you niggas say that Hassan Campbell, how can you be straight but have someone put a dick between your thighs? Well, you gotta understand something, right? People move, right? Because I'm about to break it all the way, by keeping it all the way funky for you niggas. I was 15. I was a child. By the time I was 15, I was already broken in. It was open season. Now, despite what some of you niggas saying, that at 15 you knew that a grown man wasn't supposed to be sucking in your dick, right? Well, according to the law, the white man's law, 15 is a child. 15 is a minor. A minor can't consent. So how could Hassan Campbell be gay? Right? When Hassan Campbell didn't give consent. See what I'm talking about? But, I ain't gonna keep bringing it down for none of you niggas. Because you ignorant. But I'm gonna break it down for the people who really trying to understand this situation, right? So, gotta understand, son. Africa Bambaataa. Some of you niggas keep saying that, he was he just had a one-hit wonder. And he only had one song. Well, Bam, now I gotta keep it all the way funky. Bam was more than just a rapper. He took all the gangs and brought with her in New York and united them. That's big. So do you know what that means? That means that he essentially became a gang leader. So, you gotta understand something, right? So like I said, I was already broken in. It was already like open season. So, the man was like a father. He was like a father. I have a father. I spoke about this already, but I had a father. But bitch ass nigga Wayne, but he was getting drugs. He was like Superman to me when I was a kid. But like I said, he wasn't there. He wasn't there. He was too busy getting high, too busy getting his fix. When I was hungry, Bam fed me. Chicken wing platters and Long Island iced teas. And on a side note, I think that Derek Williams knew that. He was out to get me. But, because how did he know? No, never mind. But, Peter move right. But, some of y'all saying that Hassan Campbell is a faggot, right? But I'm going to explain to you something, right? Well, you know how little shorties, they get jumped into the gang? Or should we say, gang members get jumped into the gang? So some of the shorties, they get jumped into the gang too. More like they get pumped into the gang. Well, that was my initiation. That was my initiation. But it wasn't just me. I told you about Bam's Holy Book of Swipes. Every killer from Bronx River was in the book. The littlest dick in the Zulu Nation. It was the size of my pinky. The biggest dick in the Zulu Nation belonged to Daron. You know, B Stinger's sister's boyfriend, who he sucked off, right? But I just wanted to break it down how I could put my dick in African Bambaata's mouth and not be gay, right? So, you know, I can't really break down the first time it happened. But, you know, I kind of explained to y'all how, you know, when Lily would go down on me, she'd be like, oh, that's from all the other bitches she fucking with. Nah. I just imagined a 400-pound man is feeling his mustache on my pelvis. But I just want to explain something, right? You know, because this is TMI, and I really got to explain nothing to you niggas. But I'm going to give you a little insight into my world. I know Allah, Muhammad said, hide your flaws, but I'm going to just do this just once, man. Just to clear up that Hassan Campbell is a very straight man. You know, you probably heard that some rape victims, you know, they like to imagine that they somewhere else. You know, they have like a out-of-body experience. Well, that's how it was. You know, I respected the man. And like I said, he was like a father. So the first time Bam laid me down in the bed, I told you, he never penetrated me. He put it between my butts, like a hot dog. And yes, Monty, Bam did have a big dick for a 400-pound nigga. But that's beside the point, right? Peep the move, right? But keep the move, right? You see, when Dan would come in the room and he would turn on Luther Vandross, you know, I had my Walkman playing Relax Your Thoughts by the preset player. Relax Your Thoughts by the preset player. You know, when Ben would come in the room and he would play Teddy Pendergrass, turn off the lights. Aha. Light a candle. You know, I like I said, as a victim. Like I told you before about the rape victims. I had an out-of-body experience, you know. When he was putting it between my thighs. I had my Walkman on, just imagining that I was somewhere else. You know, while he was playing Luther Vandross, I had my Walkman on, playing All I Want to Do is Zoom, a Zoom, 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 and a Boom, Boom. You know, I had to have something with some grit to it. So it wouldn't feel gay. Because like I told y'all, I'm not gay. I'm not a faggot, right? Pick the move, right? But, whenever Ben would go down and go to the gristle, you know. See, you know, I gotta break down something. You know, you gotta understand something, right? People say, a certain mongoloid motherfucker say, how could you be hard for another man, right? Peep the move, right? I'm gonna explain something. Let me break down something, right? When Ben would do that, you know, when I didn't want to do it, but like I said, I was a killer for him. I was a soldier. And I told you about the Holy Book of Swipes. There were many killers like B.O. who I looked up to, who was holding their dicks, right? So, you know, I would do anything for the gang. Except, you know, unlike B. Stinger, I didn't, you know, get my knees dirty. I got my thighs dirty, but I didn't get my knees dirty, right? If you catch my drift. Peep the move, right? But when Bambaata would go to the gristle, you know, I would just imagine some of the pornos that I stole from my uncle, right? You know, it was hard to look down. It's hard to stay hard. I mean, I'm be honest. I mean, Monty said, you know, Bambaata must have been a good park, but I'm gonna keep it real. You know, Ben do his thing though. I mean, If you can get past the part of his mustache tickling your pubes, Bam know how to work that shaft. Bam know how to work that tick. I'm sorry, yo, I'm done. Yo, I'm done. I'm done.